explain why. I've got Curtis McMillan, the Curd, Derrick Schommer. We're gonna just give a little touch. This probably won't be the shortest of our educational series because Mr. Derrick is not a big cognac guy, especially since this is a brandy and this isn't, but it's gonna be good for explaining something because I'm sure Curt's gonna care.
Okay, so you ready for the disclaimer?
Oh yes, the disclaimer is you don't know anything about cognac and you made it all up.
No. I cannot speak French. Cannot memorize French.
Oh, with one of these things, yeah.
I'm gonna butcher the shit out of this.
How do you say Hennessy in French?
Hennessy.
Oh, there you go. So we're good.
Okay, so now that I've offended everybody there,
Distinctly smooth.
strangely enough, France has always had an extreme. Our products are the best. Like their national pride is like extremely heavy.
Yeah.
And cognac is kind of in that same realm that, you know, French wine and cognac.
Grapes from France.
It's just very, very hoity-toity. And, like, what you'll notice is that as we travel through the Appalachian, it makes sense. So
we're going to travel through the Appalachian Mountains?
The Appalachians. Okay, so...
By the way, appellation is a categorization of a product, not a mountain.
Okay, so the Russians were claiming at...
They claimed that they created the first vodka / bread wine, and it was the Polish people.
1,000...
1000 AD.
Yeah. BC?
Oh, no, 80.
80, okay.
BC would be, they were
like... the very first brandies to hit the local farms were Armagnacs, and it was in 1410.
Armagnac. Oh, I had an Armagnac once.
Okay. So, let's start off by explaining...
1410, so that was... Okay.
Armagnac, Brandy, and Cognac are all fruit-based distillates.
Right.
Okay, so what it means is that if you have oranges and you turn those oranges into a sugary, watery mess and you add yeast to them and turn them into a sugar wine and then distill it, you have a brandy. If you have grapes and you squish them and get the juices out of them and then throw yeast in there and turn it into a wine and distill it, you have... Brandy, you have cognac.
No, you have brandy. You didn't say we were doing this in the cognac region.
I'm using a reference that these are all in the same family. In the same way that whiskey is anything that's distilled with grain, anything that's distilled with fruit is part of this family.
Fair enough.
Okay? So, 1495, the town of Cognac was born.
Whoa.
Okay?
Let it be so.
1517.
1517.
The King of France has moved in and started doing attacks, which leads to Dutch ships coming into the Champagne and Bordeaux region for picking up of wine.
These are the real Dutch, not the Germans.
Yes. Okay. 1549 is the first confirmation of the terminology of the word cognac.
In terms of this, or in terms of the region? You can drown.
Yeah, it's the first documented use of the word cognac.
Just leave this.
Yeah. 1643 is. Oh God, I hate pronouncing this stuff. The beginning of the first company to file for the use of being able to produce cognac, and that was.
I'm
gonna let you do this because this is gonna make it even better.
I don't speak French.
Right there.
Cognac. Augier Frères.
Okay.
Ferret.
Augier Frères. Okay.
You can't be German. I could do this if this was German.
Okay.
What do you guys got over there besides beer?
So.
Ice wine?
This is 1643.
Jaeger?
1710 is the first use of double distillation in the Cognac region of France.
Is that with the two little towers again?
Two little stills?
Yeah.
No, that's stills, not continuous.
Yeah.
Okay. Jean Martel in 1720 settles in the Cognac region and founds Martel Cognac.
Jean Martel or Jean Martel?
Jean Martel. Now, the best part about this is that Martel is the first family into cognac. Okay? There's 4 major families. He's the first one in.
It's like the Godfather. Got it.
He's the godfather. Okay?
Yep.
Paul
Revere.
Remy Martin
Oh, I've heard of him!
is...
I think they have that at the liquor store, too.
He's in to found Remy Martin in 1724. So 4 years after Martel moves in, Remy moves in. Okay?
I see what he did. He was like, hey, what's this guy into?
Okay.
He follows suit.
1731, Louis I think that's the 6. XV is 6, right?
10 plus 5.
15?
Yeah.
Louis the 15th?
6?
Louis the 15th?
Yeah.
Okay, so Louis the 15th decrees that he forbids people to plant vineyards.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Why would you ever do that? Vineyards are awesome.
He just... I don't know why he did it.
Come on. I thought you were supposed to know this stuff. Why did Louis the 15th stop vineyards from being produced? Maybe he didn't like grapes.
It could be. Okay.
Maybe they were allergic. It's like a peanut allergy for grapes.
1742, cognac exports begin to rise.
Was that because of Columbus? Oh, wait, that's
1740.
1492. Never mind.
Yeah, you're a little... You're supposed to know these things.
I did. I just knew it too late.
Okay. 1765, Richard Hennessy,
I know that guy.
a former army officer under Louis XV, founded Hennessy Cognac.
When was that?
1765.
See if you're right, because they always brag about their dates, right? Oh, they don't do that in this one. You think they'd be like, since 1765, the only product on the world. Oh, there it is.
Oh!
1765, bitches!
1794, Hennessy begins exporting to New York City.
1794?
Mm-hmm.
Only 30 years after the invention.
Here's the best. This one makes me just...
Giggle inside.
Giggly. 1795, Richard Hennessy marries Martha Martel.
Oh, they just got to bed. They literally got in bed together.
Yes. You know that old adage of like companies getting in bed?
That's one way to do it.
Got into bed.
Maybe they were touring the facility and then he met her. He's like, wow, she's pretty hot. And then they got like, all the rest. I don't have a good story for it, but that's where it started.
So Hennessy and Martel get in bed together. 1797, Hine and Elizabeth Delmar marry. So they follow suit and they marry. Okay? So my thought process in this has always been something that's interesting to me, is that if you look at like wine producers in specific regions and like from a different era, they would marry because of like that family will keep things in the business and like
same reason you do it in the country.
Yeah.
Right? Why was one country marry another for an alliance, or why you do this?
Yeah.
It's an alliance.
So these cognac producers start like marrying because not only does it keep their business moving prosperously, but it gives them more land to grow grapes.
Right.
And like it's
You'd think you'd marry a farmer.
Yeah.
A vineyard farmer.
Okay. 19th century, cognac is no longer sold in barrels, just like what we were talking about with bourbon.
Right.
Okay. It leads to the birth of a whole new industry, bottles and corks. By the end of the 19th century, wine further catastrophe happens, and 280 hectares of wine are reduced to 400 hectares. So,
280 hectares and acres. Now, go.
What we're talking about is the devastation of production of wine based on floraxia.
Right, which is some sort of like a venereal disease for grapes.
Yes.
Or something that basically kills.
It's an STD for grapes.
Yeah, it's like a really bad locust attack. So the disease kills everything. Now you have no grapes.
Okay.
If you don't have grapes, you have no wine.
And if you have no wine, you have no cognac.
And if you have no wine, cognac, you have no grappa.
Okay. So the cognac producers will come up with a fix for this, but right now, because cognac takes a nosedive and the countries that have been importing this, America, China, Japan, are all kind of like, well, what are we going to do now? And Scotch comes in and says, hello, we can fill this void. Like, we will make you happy. And they start selling Scotch to make up for the difference of the cognac producers missing out on that.
It kind of fits in the same character. If you see a guy that's drinking cognac, you'll see that you can imagine that same guy drinking a Scotch.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the best product I've ever had. And he has to hold like this.
Now, because of the infestation of Floraxia and the devastation to the cognac producers, in 1817, the French government kind of like steps in and they're like, this can't go bad. Like, we can't have this happen. So they start putting in the world's strictest regulations. Like, even to this day, cognac has the world's strictest regulations when it comes to producing product.
Right.
Like, you have to have a guy that works for the French government that lives at the distillery, that you pay his salary, and he does not work for you.
What? How do you get that job?
It's awesome.
So
but
that your job
his job is to just sit there and make sure that you don't do anything that's against the
So you have a government regulator who has to live with you.
Yes.
Now, he doesn't have to sleep
You
in
pay
your bed.
for him.
Right.
You feed him. But he does not work for you, so you can't tell him what to do.
Well, you couldn't. If you told him what to do, then you just... There wouldn't be any law. Because you could obviously pay him off.
Yeah.
I wonder if any of that happens.
Okay, so
Bonus under the
with
check.
the beginning of classifications, the very first two classifications for cognac to come out was VOP, very old and pale, and VSOP, which was the superior of the two, and that stands for very superior old and pale.
Why doesn't this say? It's got to say. I think it's VSOP, but I mean...
Okay, so let me go through the classifications real quick. In the same way that tequila has different sets, cognac has different sets. So we're going to start with VS. Okay? VS means very special.
I got it right here. Isn't that really cheap?
It's the lower of the classifications. It designates a blend in which the youngest brandy has been stored for at least 2 years in a cask. Okay?
2 years.
2 years. VSOP, very special or superior old and pale, designates a blend in which the youngest brandy is stored for at least 4 years in a cask, but the average wood age is much greater.
That's where I have another one of those.
Okay.
So the wood age?
Yeah, like it's been in wood for much longer. Okay? XO, or extra old, designates a blend in which the youngest brandy is stored for at least 6 years, but on average up to 20 years. And they just changed in 2016. The minimum storage age of an XO will be 10 years.
Let's just give it a number.
Yeah.
Boom, 10 years. And you can get
So
Hennessy
for right
XO.
now, and from now until 2016, it needs to be stored for at least up to 6 years.
Yeah.
And in 2016, bam, it's 10 years. That's it.
Which, you know what, it sucks because it's going the reverse order. Because in 2016, you know if you buy a product, it's going to be a 10-year product. If you buy one younger than that, it's up in the air. You don't know what it'll be. Where, like, if I wanted to get Hennessy XO, they use it at the, they have a cocktail, a rusty nail,
Yeah.
I think, or it has, like, this in Drambuie or whatever. And it was using Hennessy XO. Now, that bottle's like $124 or something like that for a while. And the cocktail itself was $95. Just
That seems a little
for a
little
rusty
ridiculous.
nail. It was at, at the top of the Prudential.
Yeah, top of the hub.
Yeah.
Okay, so that covers the grades. Okay. Now, the additional grades in here is like Napoleon. It's if it says Napoleon on the bottle, that is equal to XO.
Good. What are they going to do now? Is that 16 years now?
Yeah, so I'm just going to
in the
get rid
future?
of Napoleon.
Or they just got rid of that one?
What's that?
Are they getting rid of that one?
No, it'll still be there.
So, but is it going to be 10 years like XO?
I do not know.
That would be
That's a good
conspiracy.
question. Okay,
Conspiracy.
so 1849, Martel is the first cognac producer to use a label.
Huh? So before that, there was just a bottle?
Uh-huh.
There's no label on it.
No label.
How the hell do you know it's in there?
Well, that was the problem.
I'm surprised it took them that long to figure that out.
Yeah.
They put it in a big crate.
1854, the cognac region was divided into 4 different zones. The 4 different zones are Grand Champagne, Petit Champagne, Premier Bols, and oh god, I have to screw this one up.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Doizeme?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know French. I don't know the French.
Now,
all I would need is a French alphabet. I don't know the French alphabet.
If you really are into cognac, and I really suggest that you try to learn this from somebody other than me, the regions play into the classification. So XO needs to have a certain percentage from Grand Champagne and a certain percentage from Petite Champagne. Like, I could have looked all that stuff up, but I'm not worried about that for right now.
We don't care.
This is an educational seminar for people that don't understand any difference between this.
That would be for the nerds.
Yeah. So if you really want to get into
Are you
that,
a cognac nerd? Question of the day. I'm not a cognac nerd. I just bought my Hennessy.
1864, Hennessy registers its name and trademarks. It's the first of the cognac producers to register the trademark.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that would
arm
be...
with a hammer? That's theirs.
Oh, really? That's their thing?
Uh-huh.
I don't like that. It's really cheesy looking.
Well, it's been around since 1864.
I don't even understand what it is. It looks like an arm coming out of a paper or like a towel roll.
When I look at it, I think that you know those Italian breads, those long Italian breads.
Yeah. I was saying that's what it was.
Like an Italian bread with an arm coming out.
Italian bread with a knight's arm.
It's like it's the food that's trying to kill you.
I'm like, maybe this is the bread wine. It's bread. It should have been grapes. Whatever.
Okay, awesome. 1890. Because of Floraxia, the vineyards in Chartreuse are drawn to 400 acres, and also in
Chartreuse.
I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Okay.
It's not Chartreuse.
Chartreuse.
1890, 20th century grapevines are imported from North America to help fix Floraxia. Bing! This is the most interesting part of anything I'm going to tell you about cognac. Cognac is made from grapes. Those grapes were destroyed by their STD called Floraxia. That STD was cured by Texas grapevines.
You walk in, it's like, everything's bigger in Texas!
If any person from France ever goes, oh, cognac is the best spirit ever, you go, yeah, well, it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Texas. Ding! That's awesome. I love that.
You know what? All this might as well just be made in Texas. Like, I don't see what the
I'm sure that they would be very offended by that statement.
That's that. Well, we did just yell, bang, everything's better in Texas. If that didn't...
I can just see there's like 4 viewers in France right now that are like stupid Americans.
Most of them probably don't drink cognac.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. 1909. The 6 cognac areas are defined by law and protected. They finally get their appellation. So to make a cognac, you have to be in the cognac region. You can't make cognac in Scandinavia.
When was that made?
1909.
Why did you know that? Scandinavian cognac is awesome.
1909. Also that same year, the Simmons family took over leadership of Courvoisier.
Well, you said one right. I don't know. It sounds good.
It's easy. It's all the rap videos.
Oh.
Courvoisier.
What's the deal with rappers and cognac?
They
you have
love
that in your timeline?
I don't have that.
What's the deal with that?
Okay. 1923, Cognac Brands Hennessy Martel started to cooperate regarding exports markets and agreed to a agreement that lasted 29 years. So they all kind of agreed how they would handle imports and exports so that they were able to produce enough product to be able to ship out to the rest of the world.
Right.
Okay.
And do it in some standardized manner.
1927, the words fine champagne appear on the first Remy Martin VSOP bottles.
Because?
The French government just gave them the title that they could say that.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I'd want to just put a big old penis on the front of mine. Like, there you go.
1934, Courvoisier uses the historic person of Napoleon to market its cognac. That's where the titling of Napoleon comes in and becomes the XO equivalent.
Well, it's got some sort of complex there.
Oh,
Mom.
Oh, your mom called. Okay, 1936, new rules of cognac production come into being. For example, the wine for distillation had to be produced from white grapes and no additional sugars could be used. This is kind of like 1936 is when the French government goes, yeah, you can't do anything. They pretty much make it to where cognac can only be produced during certain months. They make the law that the person has to be on the site for that.
Right.
They have to wax seal their barrels. The only person that can open the barrel is the guy that works for the government.
But what happens when he opens it? Could he seal it again?
I'm not 100% sure on this.
Because is he just testing it to see if it's...
No, like, if you have to take stuff out of that, he has to be the one
he has to be there to be like,
Yeah.
you want to drain this barrel? All right, I will do this, well, let's wait till after lunch.
Yeah.
Like, wait, no, I'm hungry. You're waiting. I'll get your wax seal off after lunch.
Yeah.
Wait, that sounds like a porn thing. I'm gonna get off your wax seal.
I'll get your wax seal off.
I'm gonna get that off.
Okay, and then we're gonna jump forward pretty heavily. In 2008, China becomes the largest market for cognac.
China.
Because
they have more people. They're always gonna win.
They're always gonna win.
Right, they just have to order like one per every 5 of us, and they're gonna kick our asses.
Okay, so let's do cognac for the common man.
Just drink it. No, this is Hennessy Black.
Okay,
and it's not
marketing
black.
Is really, really difficult because for some reason the companies that own cognac producers, the 4 families, Courvoisier, Hennessy, Remy Martin, and Martell, are very, very influential in pushing those cognac brands. Out of all the spirits in their portfolios, those are those spirits that probably get pushed the hardest.
Right.
And
it's a good margin.
I would say that out of the 4 families, the most traditional to what cognac represents to me is Martell.
I don't have any Martell.
Yeah, you don't have any. But Martell is by far the most traditional, where Hennessy is a little bit more...
I just want to go
that
rap.
night. It's just like nightclubby.
I want to rap right now.
You get you get the stretched limo. That's Hennessy.
I want white,
okay,
like pants. And
Courvoisier is in that same kind of realm. I think that maybe Hennessy sits a little higher than Courvoisier.
Just because they hired more celebrities.
And then Remy Martin is like, it's like if Hennessy was like, I don't want to be Hennessy anymore. I want to be Martell. And like it went to go be Martell. It's not. It's kind of like in between now. Like there's no real clear definition. It's just like all of these 4 families kind of have a different marketing view to the world, and honestly, it's just confusing and it's boring.
I don't understand what this like. For instance, I had Hennessy VSOP or whatever. I think
Yeah.
And then I got Hennessy Black only because it was black.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out it's not actually black at all, right?
Yeah.
They just make the bottle black. So I don't know. Like they don't tell you what does that mean. Why
it could
is
actually
black?
be so much younger than a V. It could be like the cheapest thing that you.
Exactly. So now I walk in. I'm like, well, I don't know what Hennessy I should get. So I basically have to go on price.
Okay, so we're gonna go and give you guys the breakdown of what you should get. You should buy for your first starter one.
Brandy.
Yeah, just follow me on this. Martell, and you want a VS. That's it.
Like that kind of VS.
You want Martell VS. If they don't have it, have them order it. Every state can get Martell. It's not an impossible thing for them to get. If you want a cognac, just ask for Martell VS.
But as VS, it doesn't have the O and the P.
Yeah, well, if you really like what you got, then keep going and keep trying it. Like go VSOP on Martell. And then when you try that, let's say you really like it, then say, well, you know what? I'm going to try the Hennessy VSOP. And now you've got 3 cognacs. Like you're breaking in. It's the same as Scotch. Like you start with one, you get another, you maybe go within your buddy and you buy another.
But in those cases, people have an easier time, I think, with the number system.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get a Scotch that's 10 year. What's better than 10 year? A 12. What's better than 12? A 15. What's better than 15? A 16 or 17 or an 18 or 21. Like, you see the level of progression. With this, you have to understand that almost in a way, it's not even, you can't even go with how many letters, because VSOP has a lot of them. VS has a few, but so does only XO.
But that's why they're watching this show right now.
I know. And for me, I go in and I have you have very little limited selection. It's not like tequila where you walk in, or vodka and you walk in and you're like, there's like 400 brands. I'm overwhelmed. In this case, the way I usually buy, and sometimes I'll buy brandy and I'll have a cognac. To me, they're like the same thing, just not in the same region.
Yeah.
But I don't really care, because if it's going into a cocktail, brandy and eggnog, cognac and eggnog, whatever.
Well, if you're gonna make a cognac cocktail, you're gonna use a VS.
Because it's like, why are you going to waste your time on an OP? I use a VSOP because that's what I had. The thing is, they're not expensive.
No.
Right? So I always pictured cognac as being super hoity-toity expensive.
Well, when you get into Napoleons and XOs,
right?
There's steps above that. Like in Martell, there's like Grand Creation was like a $600 bottle.
But you don't. When you go and you just look at your cognac section, they're not there because those expensive bottles are locked away. Right?
I can't think of the last time that I've gone into like a pretty decent bar that doesn't have at least 3 or 4 cognacs.
I'm thinking just a liquor store. At a cognac, at a bar.
You've got it bad up here in New Hampshire.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We got Hennessy all over the place.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I go into my place and I've got... Martell's a little tough. I'm telling people right now, it's not going to be like at your average Joe's liquor store. But, you know, if you want to just cut through this stuff, just go to the liquor counter, say, I would like to order a bottle of Martell. Can I special order it? 90% of the time, they're not going to tell you no.
Right. So go order it. Probably find it on Drink Up New York.
Yeah, there's another choice right there. Yeah. If your state lets you ship alcohol.
Yeah, you guys don't get that luxury.
You guys don't get it either, do you?
Oh yeah, I do.
Well, no. I thought that Malt Masters and
they might not.
They don't send to any place in New England.
You have to have a license, but an import export probably. For Drink Up New York to send it here, I just pay taxes on it.
Oh,
it's just which we don't pay taxes in New Hampshire, so it was a little weird. But you pay tax on it because it's coming into the state, and the state gets their money because we're state run.
I think that's everything.
We can make cocktails now.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Go get yourself cognac. Go get yourself a brandy. Stick with the little letters.
Maybe a Perrier.
Perrier. Oh, that's French right there. Lots of French going on. This is our French episode. Thank you for tuning in, French people. We will talk to you later. Teach you how to drink.
It doesn't really matter. It's vodka. It has one purpose. It is to deliver ethanol and to be a neutral grain spirit.